It is Channel Weird, and I'm Clyde Lewis. It's a great time. I know we're just spinning off of Halloween, and we're getting into November, and everybody's going to get ready to talk Christmas and all this. But I look at it this way: once Halloween starts, it's those scary ghost stories and tales of the glories from a long time ago, and it's certainly time to talk winter Fortiana, if you will. I'm getting ready tomorrow to go see Antlers because I just want to get scared. I'm gonna go see Dune too because I've been waiting to see Dune. I usually jump on movies, but since COVID, it's like I don't know if I want to go to the movies. And why is it not on HBO Max? I know Dune's on HBO Max, but yeah, whatever. I'm not gonna watch a movie that's going to be the next generation Star Wars on a little screen. I want to go see it on a big screen. So we're going to do it this weekend with the crew of Ground Zero and the wife and the kid and all that. So it's going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure. And I'm hoping you're going to have a great weekend too. We're just happy to be here. And I got a great guest today. In fact, he's so great that, we were having a show before the show. It was, he and I, relate on a lot of topics. And his name's Anthony Tyler. He's an author. He uses a lot of comparisons to theology, esoterics, metaphysical stuff, and parapolitics as well. And I think that there are a lot of people that understand that there's more to life than just CNN, MSNBC, or Fox,
Yeah,
or any of that crap. So you got to dig deeper.
absolutely.
Anthony Tyler, welcome to Channel Weird. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on.
It's
It's
good
a
to
pleasure
see
to
you,
be
man.
here.
And it's good to know that we have some young Forteans or Forteans that are out there, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy that you are one because people say to me all the time, "So, are you a Christian?" And I say, "Yes, but I'm also a Fortean," and I think it's like some cult that I put on a hood and a mask and go around and shake bones at things. But no, I think that I think more and more people, if they understand what Fortiana is and what being a Fortean is, I think they'll say, "Yeah, I'm one of those too." So, Anthony, why don't you explain what it means to you to be part of this little social club known as Fortean, being a Fortean or a Forteanist? I don't think
Yeah,
that's the word.
absolutely.
Charles Ford's
Yeah.
rolling in his grave right now. You're a Forteanist? Is that what they call those things? But go ahead and tell us about Anthony.
Well, I really think that I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could slice this pie, and I think to start out with, um, being a Fortean is, just first and foremost, someone that people have like a I guess it doesn't help sometimes that that Charles Fort, with his tongue-in-cheek sense of humor, made that seminal work titled "The Book of the Damned." People, if you don't want to like do any sort of reading into it, you might think that that's kind of sketchy potentially. But for anybody that doesn't know, it's a book about all the case studies and data that scientific materialism is thrown out the window because it doesn't have a way to investigate it or really answer it. So they just assume that it didn't happen. And if you just take it from that point of view, um, the Fortean investigation just kind of seems like a logical step. Like, of course, there would be plenty that, and it makes sense to a degree why science would just kind of set things to the side.
Mm.
Like, well, we don't know what to do with that. But they go a step further a lot of the time. Like, this is where it gets into, instead of just science as a means of investigation, we get into like scientism as this sort of strange, like pigeonholed ideology um, that you see that's kind of corrupted like institutions and scholasticism as we know it these days. Like Egyptology is a great example. But anyway, so Fortiana and Fortean investigation is Fortiana being what the Fortean investigates is just like the umbrella term for unexplainable phenomena ultimately, but it goes a little bit further than that by having that connotation of the like surrealist trickster element, if you will. There seems to be some sort of however you want to go about explaining it, there's inevitably this sort of like it's almost like the cosmos winking at you. Like, did you catch that pun I gave you? You know, and
Oh, did you? What is it? I think it was, and I always get confused whether Robert Anton Wilson made this quote or whether or not Charles Fort made the quote. I could be kidding, but I'm very serious about what I kid about, meaning that, I could be pulling your leg or winking at you or nudging at you, but the truth is that there's something strange afoot. And I've always said,
yeah,
I've coined my own Fortean axiom where I say it's hard to get ahead when something is afoot, and it's true that you're dealing with all kinds of powers and principalities and all these things that are just bizarre. And the moment you throw yourself into it, the moment you get to that point of chapel perilous, and you say to yourself, "I'm either going to be a full agnostic or I'm just going to lose my mind." I think when you reach that point and you become uh, a person who has the same mind as Charles Fort, you tend to feel liberated because you realize, oh, I've seen that, I've experienced that, I know that, I read about that, and I think it makes you more relatable actually, because I think the human consciousness, and I know you have a lot of fascination with Jung, Carl Jung, but the human
mhm.
consciousness is a very intricate thing, and dream time and sleep time and all these things, anything from the demons at your bed to the strange synchronicities that happen to you every day. These are things that I think people, once they experience them or once they have them pointed out to them, their lives become more enriched in the process.
Absolutely. I think Fortean investigation, and I guess like Fortean philosophy, if you will, the outlook on life. It is very much an embrace of, like in a positive way, almost like a transmutation in a sense of existential horror that all human beings experience to one degree or another. But the way I look at it, and it's not really the only way to look at things. I don't discourage people from their points of view, especially if they have really thought about it. There's a lot of different ways to live life, but the way I see it, he- w- the human being, it really is pretty insignificant from the objective point of view. But the you know it's not all about the objective. I mean, like, the subjectivity adds a whole angle to it. I think that people, because there's this huge focus on materialist science, that people will tend to just throw the subjective out the window and say that it's like, uh, I don't know what people said. They want to make it seem like the subjective is entirely just like delusional.
Well, they
And
trivialize it. A lot of times they
yeah.
trivialize it. I've had meetings before, or like I've been on panels where, for some reason they want my opinion on something, but then we have these, I don't know what you call them. They're experts. Okay, you were talking about scientism, and they're
Mhm.
experts. And immediately they pull the card. Who are you going to believe? The conspiracy theorist, the Fortean, or are you going to believe me? And I'm going, whoa, that's a really low blow because, yeah, you're going to stick to your dogma, and I'm going to stick to things that are possible. I'm going to speculate into the winds and say, well, the world doesn't always perform the way you want it to. And I remember when
Right.
I read Glick, and I read, about chaos theory, and I've read about mythologies and how mythologies all spin. I mean, I read two books that changed my life was Chaos Theory by Glick, and also Joseph Campbell's Power of Myth. And of course I've read the Book of the Damned, and I've said to myself, the human condition is far more uh, complex than we think. Oh, it's so simple. No, it's not simple. I mean, if it was simple, then why do we have different belief systems? Why do we have different dogmas? Why do we have a Bible and a Quran and a Talmud why do we have all these things? Is because the human mind is very complex, and perception is something that basically creates or constructs the reality. And what can you say reality is anymore? It should be used in quotes.
Right. It absolutely should be. And yeah, 14 investigation kind of takes that as like a primary postulation in many ways. And yeah, I think, the 14 the 14 embraces that sense of existential horror, of that insignificance, objectively speaking, because and we could talk about this more as we go, 'cause there's a point that you would kind of unpack a little bit. But the more you get into the Fortiana, the more you see that there really isn't like a thorough explanation for these kinds of things without taking into account the subjective. That doesn't mean it's entirely subjective, but and this gets into Jung and archetypes and even memetics a bit, and like looking at the subjective as actual building blocks towards something. Like, for instance, memes being a lot more than things on the computer. Evolutionarily
Right.
speaking, memes are uh,
Sigils.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And as Dawkins initially put it, which feeds into that perfectly, they are to the human psychology, memes are as genes are to the human biology. So they're
Right. I
very
mean,
important.
people don't understand that sigils can be powered, and it used to be that the alchemists of the past and the witches of the past used to animate these symbols, and we know through history that symbols that have been empowered, like for example the swastika and other symbols. These have been very powerful. Now we don't
Mhm.
need symbols like a swastika or anything like that. We have memes. Okay, those memes are on the computer, and the algorithms fortify them, and they turn into magical talisman. They turn into they send a message so quickly, and people don't realize they're being beguiled by these memes. And I would like to. It would be funny if we could see people like Charles Ford or even H.G. Wells or these other thinkers that thought outside of the box what they would think of meme magic, because I don't even think Orwell would even understand. I mean, it's just another form of propaganda, but what is behind it and how it goes from a tulpa to possibly an egregore, I think is something fascinating. I don't think people even realize the power of what memes are doing and what this does. I mean, even TikTok is kind of a magical. It's a magical meme generator, and people they watch these like 20 seconds of frivolity and craziness, and they don't realize the importance of them. It's just an amazing thing to discuss, and we're doing that tonight on Channel Weird. We are very happy to have with us Anthony Tyler, and we'll be back with more with Anthony and more interesting talk of Fortiana right here on Channel Weird. We'll be back. On the phone with me is Ronnie from getthetea.com. Hey, Ronnie, it is the tea that makes you go, I know this because I use it. My favorite is pomegranate. What kind of flavors are there to choose from with this wonderful tea?
You can do pomegranate. You can do just the straight, which is real good. And also we have a mint, a peppermint. People really love that one too. And we have a couple new flavors on the way, which I will not discuss yet, but they're coming.
A lot of people don't know that peppermint is a very, very good supplement to keep the stomach happy. It relaxes the intestines, and once again, it makes you feel better because it allows them to move around and get that stuff out of you, that bad stuff out of you.
Absolutely. This is a digest mover. So people have a hard time digesting stuff, or you get something stuck, or maybe you're a real heavy meat eater. The tea is wonderful. That's why it's tagline, the tea that makes you go.
If I want my life to change and get the tea, where do I go to get it?
Getthetea.com. That's getthetea, TEA.com.
Fantastic. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis. Have you ever wanted Ground Zero merchandise but didn't know where to go? Well, I want to let you know that we now have our own online store with such items as t-shirts, hoodies, decals, tote bags, and other exclusive specialty apparel. There's a secure and easy-to-use shopping cart for your purchases. Coming soon will be signed posters and coffee mugs available as we are constantly adding new items. So shop today at the official Ground Zero store by going to groundzeromerch.com. That's groundzeromerch.com. It's all over the news, food shortages and scarcity in the supply chain, and the reality is nobody truly knows what might happen in the near future. Hi, I'm Clyde Lewis, and I want to let you know that it's a good idea to plan ahead so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We highly recommend My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. They provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, their foods will be there when you need them most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals to provide 2,000 calories a day. They have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from, along with a variety of other survival products. If the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. After you order from My Patriot Supply, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep. Prepare today, because time is short. Go to preparewithgroundzero.com. That's preparewithgroundzero.com.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to AncientLifeOil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm, from brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries, be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to AncientLifeOil.com for great CBD. That's AncientLifeOil.com. You'll be glad you did.
It's a well-known fact that controversial talk show hosts have recently been censored and even banned on the internet by corporate and political interests. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. And in order to counter the suppression of information, we've decided to create our own private digital playground called Aftermath. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring a social media platform, videos, audio clips, archive shows, research groups, documents, and a news aggregator. In addition, we're hosting other Ground Zero friendly podcasts like Conspirafact with Wes and Bill, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, Parawareness with Mr. Gates and Isaac Weishaupt, Opposing Perspective with James Ponder, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and several more shows. Mobile apps for Android and Apple are available too. The monthly subscription for Aftermath is only $10 a month. And don't forget to check out the yearly specials, including the Friends and Family Pass with one main account and 3 sub-accounts. Sign up now by going to aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media. Anthony Tyler's with us on Channel Weird. And fellow Fortean. And we're very happy to have him on the program today. And I got to thinking about how, once again, if you're cultivating rational thought, you're cultivating, I guess, what it means to be a human being. I think we're losing our humanity a lot when you're dealing with this vaccine and you're dealing with this COVID and you're dealing with all these things they want us to do to kind of turn ourselves over to the state. And I look at that and I say to myself, if people were to understand the modus operandi of what would be called the trickster, I think that's one of the things that what makes Fortiana different from just a heaven or hell or a Satan or a God is the idea that that old Shakespearean phrase, as flies to wanton boys, so are we to the gods, they use us for their pleasure. In other words, that in the game that we're in, this whole idea that now they're saying we're in a metaverse or in a matrix, there are a group of, well, I don't know if they're a group, but there's a trickster. There's always this trickster element, the chaos element. And that chaos element, it shows the human frailty, if you will, that, you know, everything's going great, and then all of a sudden everything goes to hell. And you're thinking to yourself, you know, why did it go to hell? Well, it's the trickster. You know, the trickster does something bizarre. Like he shows me all these numbers. Like, you know, I see the number 13. I'm going, oop, the third. You know, it's part superstition, but it's part of, I guess you could say, ancient habit. I mean, do you think that we've inherited? I mean, Carl Jung talked about the archetypes. You were just kind of hinting at it in the beginning, but you know, I think it took thousands of years for us to inherit these archetypes that we look at, whether it be demons or angels or anything. I mean, what do you have to say about that?
That's a good question. I think that inherently the archetypes have been with us, but we continuously, you know, there's always a forward motion or an inertia psychically, psychologically, and we're always sort of continuing to cultivate these things and refine them, or perhaps dilute them for that matter. But excuse me. I think it's also along that train of thought, it's important to note that and Jungian psychology can be heady to some people, most certainly, but it doesn't need to be, and it kind of just it's kind of like layers of an onion. Depends on how far you want to go. But I mean, if you really want to get into the semantics of it, there's the archetypes, as they're personified and exchanged through our culture, and then there's how they are typified, if you will, in our own psyches, and
Right.
there's a tremendous amount of overlap, and how they're typified in our psyches is like indicative of the collective consciousness, but it will be slanted, it'll be veered in certain ways, because that's the human experience. It's microcosmic,
Right.
as above, so below, like fractal. Fractals are all a part of chaos theories,
But if you notice that,
not trivial tropes.
we're seeing right now, I would say, a fault in group recall. And what I mean by that is that, like you say, the archetypes are in us. People see a devil and they know it's a devil. People see an angel, they know it's an angel. These are the images, the image and action parameters that we've had. But then we go back and we understand that there's right now a group failure to recall, and that's what the Mandela effect is. People are like, they're all of a sudden saying, wait a minute, I thought it was Luke, I am your father, or I thought it was this way or this way. It's not the way I thought it was. And they think it's some sort of a time rift. And it very well could be, because of the fact that I learned a lot about the Troxler effect, which is where your eyes perceive everything in front of you, but what's behind you, you don't even care about. It's like the idea, the tree falling in the forest, no one's around to listen. Well, of course, we think it makes a noise, but it really doesn't, because no one can enjoy the noise. It's like, you're looking in front of you and you're seeing everything that's going on in front of you, but you have no idea, and you don't register what's going on behind you, but it's happening. So, I mean, the Troxler effect I thought was very interesting, because I came up with this because I had an eye exam. I hadn't had an eye exam in forever. I'm getting old. My eyes are getting old. And so I had a floater situation happen. So I had to go to the doctor, and they did all these experiments on my eyes. They like flashed stuff in my eyes, and it was almost like I was having an out-of-body experience, because there was one time I had a health issue where I did see the light. I ran away from it, and I said it was a trap. Don't go near it. But they had the same types of things going on, and I saw this cottage, and I saw this picket fence and all this stuff, and I'm wondering, what the hell am I looking at? But it was right in front of me, and I'm thinking, this is an illusion. It's not there, but it is there. And I got to thinking about the Troxler effect, and I was reading, and it's so true. Throughout our lives, we have tuned out a lot of things, and it's like right now, people are wearing socks, but they don't register they're wearing socks. You don't think about the fact that your socks are on. You tune that out so your brain can think of other things, but you have your socks on, but you don't feel them. After a while, you put them on, you feel them, and then you don't feel them anymore. That's the Troxler effect. And the same thing with how you're viewing the world. You tune out certain things, but certain things you absorb. And then when you absorb something that's out of the blue, that's out of the ordinary, that's a bolt from the blue, you say, well, that's paranormal. Well, no, what it is your brain has tuned all this stuff out, because within your unconscious mind, these things are playing out. And then one day something leaps from your unconscious mind into reality, and you're like going, wait, I just saw a ghost, or wait, I just saw my dead grandmother, or wait, there's a demon under my bed with the lights off. And or it can be triggered as such when you see something like a coat, folded under the table, and you think it's a dog or a cat or something. This is the thing, is that people don't realize that Fortiana and all that is based on perception. You perceive it a certain way, and then if you can rationally tell yourself, which you constantly have an argument with yourself, that what you saw was, like Ebenezer Scrooge says, it was some undigested meat or something that caused you to feel this way. But you cannot deny that what is going on is magic, that the brain is creating these magical things. And if you look at life with the idea that sometimes life is indistinguishable from magic, you become a Fortean, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, and that's why I consider myself a Fortean, essentially, because it doesn't just cover, things like cryptozoology and the paranormal, although those are usually like the first two things that people will think of. But I mean, it covers, like we talked about earlier, just everything that scientism has cast out, and that just kind of gets into existentialism at large, and the fact that science the materialist scientism doesn't really take into account the subjective. And so um since that's like a major part of the discarded scraps, that's something that the Fortean has naturally really like, I don't know, I think it's part of wanting to see what science has thrown out, and also just the natural ontology of the study. Because yeah, I mean, you that's why I like people like Jacques Vallée and John Keel, and obviously Carl Jung, because they first and foremost are they're interested in the objective. They want data, they want to see what's observable to the five senses empirically, but they're also very interested in the just the eyewitness account. They don't want to discount. It's I think a lot of people want to say, well, I mean, just get down to the brass tacks of it. I mean, the more you look into things like archetypes and memes, and then you get into the slightly more esoteric stuff like tulpas and egregors, and how there can be a psychological or psychical, if you will, inertia behind certain things that can make them autonomous, essentially, even if they aren't sentient. Um, you start to see that the subjective plays a huge role in how we engage with these things. It might not be entirely, and personally, I don't think it is entirely like what Jung would call projection of the psyche.
Right.
But um, the way I like to put it is that I think that the trail of breadcrumbs begins with the psyche. We're creating a fertile ground that starts with an altered state of consciousness, and
Right.
is modified, modulated with our um, interaction with symbols. And I think that essentially that projection process creates like an allegorical
Right.
bottle for a genie.
Well, yeah,
You know,
that once again, that gets into the alchemy part of it all, the idea that we can create genies and release them at all times.
right?
For example, a perfect example of this is Slender Man.
It
I
is a good example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good example. I was, for the longest time, I reported as Slender Man as a real being, knowing full well that it was a creepypasta character, and that, but he leapt from the computer into the lives of people, and people started seeing him
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
started believing him. And then three girls, the two girls that lured that one girl into the playground to kill for Slender Man, that says something. It
It really
means that
does.
if you fortify, or you empower or power up a sigil or an image like Slender Man, it happens. I interviewed Wes Craven once when
Wow.
I was doing a B movie magazine. I interviewed Wes Craven. He gave me the opportunity to interview him. He said he felt the same way about Freddy Krueger. He said that
Right.
when Freddy Krueger was on the screen, and everybody's watching him, Richard Ramirez was doing his killing spree all over. And he had worried that the spirit of Freddy Krueger had leapt out of the screen and gone into the body of Ramirez, and that Ramirez was doing the killing. And so you'd hear about this guy that break into people while they're sleeping and killing them in their sleep. And Freddy Krueger was this once again, the Jungian archetype of the Sandman or the Tooth Fairy or Freddy Krueger's in your dreams. It's the same character. It's the Dark Man. It's the Homo Negru is what they call him. Homo Negru shows up in everybody's archetype, whether it be Hat Man or the Grinning Man. I remember the Grinning Man was talked about. Keel talked about the Grinning Man. All of these characters are in our archetype, our archetypical catalog, and I don't think people understand that they are powers that our minds fill in the blanks, and so these powers show up, these powerful. I guess I don't know what you call them, gravity waves or electromagnetic waves or whatever waveforms they are, and they take on these personages because of the fact that our minds fill in the blanks. And this is where you get over that Troxler effect, where you've tuned down all these things, and then one day, bam, something leaps out at you, and you have to process it. And this is where Fortiana comes in. And like you say, it's we have to get rid of material science in order to go into the margins to figure out what these fringe things are doing to us all. Anthony Tyler with us right here on Channel Weird, and having a good esoteric Fortean discussion here. We'll be back with more. Don't go away.
It's a well-known fact that controversial talk show hosts have recently been censored and even banned on the internet by corporate and political interests. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. And in order to counter the suppression of information, we've decided to create our own private digital playground called Aftermath. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring a social media platform, videos, audio clips, archive shows, research groups, documents, and a news aggregator. In addition, we're hosting other Ground Zero friendly podcasts like Conspirafact with Wes and Bill, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, Parawareness with Mr. Gates and Isaac Weishaupt, Opposing Perspective with James Ponder, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and several more shows. Mobile apps for Android and Apple are available too. The monthly subscription for Aftermath is only $10 a month. And don't forget to check out the yearly specials, including the Friends and Family Pass with one main account and 3 sub-accounts. Sign up now by going to aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to AncientLifeOil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm, from brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries, be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to AncientLifeOil.com for great CBD. That's AncientLifeOil.com. You'll be glad you did.
It's all over the news, food shortages and scarcity in the supply chain, and the reality is nobody truly knows what might happen in the near future. Hi, I'm Clyde Lewis, and I want to let you know that it's a good idea to plan ahead so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We highly recommend My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. They provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, their foods will be there when you need them most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. They have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from, along with a variety of other survival products. If the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. After you order from My Patriot Supply, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep. Prepare today, because time is short. Go to preparewithgroundzero.com. That's preparewithgroundzero.com.
Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis. Have you ever wanted Ground Zero merchandise but didn't know where to go? Well, I want to let you know that we now have our own online store with such items as t-shirts, hoodies, decals, tote bags, and other exclusive specialty apparel. There's a secure and easy-to-use shopping cart for your purchases. Coming soon will be signed posters and coffee mugs available as we are constantly adding new items. So shop today at the official Ground Zero store by going to groundzeromerch.com. That's groundzeromerch.com. On the phone with me is Ronnie from getthetea.com. Hey, Ronnie, it is the tea that makes you go, I know this because I use it. My favorite is pomegranate. What kind of flavors are there to choose from with this wonderful tea?
You can do pomegranate. You can do just the straight, which is real good. And also we have a mint, a peppermint. People really love that one too. And we have a couple new flavors on the way, which I will not discuss yet, but they're coming.
You know, a lot of people don't know that peppermint is a very, very good supplement
to keep the stomach happy. It relaxes the intestines, and once again, it makes you feel better because it allows them to move around and get that stuff out of you, that bad stuff out of you.
Absolutely. This is a digest mover. So people have a hard time digesting stuff, or you get something stuck, or maybe you're a real heavy meat eater. The tea is wonderful. That's why it's taglined, the tea that makes you go.
If I want my life to change and get the tea, where do I go to get it?
GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea, TEA.com.
Fantastic.
It's Channel Weird. I'm Clyde Lewis with Anthony Tyler. Such a refreshing discussion. It may be a little deep for people, especially those who have not acquainted themselves with Forteana, but many people do not know that they're immersed in it 24/7.
Right.
And and they need to be able to identify it. They need to be able to identify that we live in a peculiar world. We're all damned to die, memento mori, and all that other nonsense. I mean, if people were to realize that, I mean, I think we wouldn't have that much fear about COVID-19 or all that other stuff because, you know, people need to know about adapting. And it seems to be, you know, every 14 I've talked to, including those who are into the occult, those who are into, you know, the witchy stuff and the pagan stuff and all this, they remember memento mori and that life is full of risks. And I guess, you know, I guess people can think that you're a real ass clown for thinking that way. But no, I mean, it's like, you know, we come in contact with death every day we wake up. Every time we walk, it's controlled falling. Every time we get in a car and we drive, we run the risk of getting, you know, hit by a semi or whatever. And nobody reminds us of this every day. But we're getting reminded every day that if we sneeze, cough, fart, or whatever, it's either going to cause a climate disaster or we're all going to kill each other. And I just think that, you know, we need to step out of that paradigm and say that the world is far more fascinating than you can even imagine. And things are happening now. I mean, what we have, I was just saying yesterday that NASA is already preparing their words and their protocols for welcoming extraterrestrial life. They made the announcement saying, well, we got to find a way to put guardrails on this story because if we don't, people are just going to, their imaginations are going to run wild. Well, why not? Let their imaginations run wild. When these Tic Tacs were seen, you know, flying around, you know, these Navy ships, you know, everybody's like going, oh man, that's E.T., E.T. And they said, no, it's not E.T. Well, come on. You know, are you fooling us? What? You know, there's always been a demon or an angel or an alien out there that we need to seek out and figure out. I mean, there's a reason why we look up. There's a reason why we pray to a God up in the sky. There's all that, you know, all the reasons are like you say, that, you know, we need to dig down and dig deep and ask why people behave the way they do. And that's the whole thing. I think a lot of the times Forteana is looking at human behavior too, because not only can you look at history as an oracle, but you can also look at human behavior and pretty much figure out how things are going to go. And I wonder if you've been seeing those patterns too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would completely agree with you. Um, with everything you just said, really. You know, in general in life, it's important to take precautions, but you also have to take into account how inherently dangerous life itself is. And, um, you know, I mean, just to be honest with the whole COVID thing, it's, yeah, like again, with precaution is a certain level of precaution in life in general is good. But, um, I think that it's more than obvious that we've propaganda has run amok a bit. Like, there's way too much fear mongering going on, and I I'm I'm at a loss. I just try to stay above all that stuff because it's I don't know, people. It, I
They're
did
losing their
journalism for a
minds.
while.
The psychopathy is I call it psychochondria because it's like it's this hypochondria, psychosis, and histrionics, and all these things that are happening at one. You know, I was just telling you, I think before we did the show, I was talking about how just the other day I did I did the radio show and I whipped out a Ouija board and we were talking with this Dr. Heldor. Every time people jump up and down and scream, "Don't use a Ouija board," blah, 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 I used one and this and that and the other thing. And I think to myself, okay, so, uh, if you use a Ouija board as a tool and you're not afraid of it and you keep the rules and you're safe, there's no reason why you should be afraid of it. It's like saying, "Don't use a table saw, you'll cut your finger off." Well, of course you will if you're a moron and you don't know how
Right.
to use a table saw. And I think people don't understand this. I think that I mean, you're a demonologist. I mean, I it's if you understand the demonic realms, you understand that they have to play by rules too. I mean, there are rules here. I mean, people say, "Oh, no, 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 they don't have to play by the rules at all." People pick and choose of what they think demons do. I mean, they all think that it's the Hollywood version of the demon, or what their preacher tells what demons are. Demons are basically, um, they're tricksters. They look at you and they laugh at you because they think you're a monkey. "Oh, you're a monkey, huh? Okay, we'll do what the monkey we'll see what the monkey can do. Monkey see, monkey do." But
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
don't act like a freaking monkey, you can be I mean, I don't understand how people don't see how they're more powerful than some spiritual chaos. You know what I'm saying? It's like, "Oh, I'm
Right.
afraid of demons." Well, okay, you be afraid of demons all you want. I'm not afraid of them because I know I have more power than them. I have a body. I can feel pain. I can feel pleasure. They can't. Why do you think they begged to be put into pigs when Jesus cast out the demons from the Gerasene? They were begging to go into pigs' bodies because they wanted to feel what it was like to be. I don't know if it's human or at least have a body. They wanted to know what it was like. I don't think people understand those I guess nuances of what's being taught. They just think demon evil, Jesus good, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, that's the basics. But there are reasons why, Jesus had to get his hands dirty. There are reasons why people have to get their hands dirty. They have to go into the lion's den to figure out how the lions are. You understand? Yeah, do you understand what I'm feeling right now? You understand what I'm saying,
Oh,
Anthony?
big time. Yeah, yeah, you speak my language for sure. See, I was raised Protestant, and I am not anymore, but only because I appreciate a
Yeah,
lot more than just that dogma. But I have
right.
a great respect for Christianity all the same, and um, like the only reason I wouldn't consider myself a Christian particularly is because and I have a feeling you would be able to relate to this.
Right.
It's not because of the things in the Bible, although there's, you got to sift through that. There's like a few ridiculous things in there, but it's more so Christians in and of themselves, and that's not a diss on the average Christian. Like the average Christian is someone I can get along with. It's this weird, like psycho industrial machine that
Mhm.
that Christianity is, and that most of these institutionalized religions have become, so
Well,
I just really shy away from organized
I
religion.
think the best thing to say, and this is what I always tell people, because I consider myself a Christian, but I say, I'm a Christian. I got really good at it, and then I retired because I wanted to find something more. And it's true. I mean, I got
I
really good at
respect
being
that.
Christian, and now I've kind of retired and decided, well, I want to learn more about other things. I mean, I know a lot about Christianity, and I've practiced Christianity, got real good at it. And now I want to learn some other things about other religious groups. I want to learn about, the Quran. I want to learn about the Talmud. I want to learn about Kabbalism. I want to learn about, you know, I want to worry about. I want to talk about and investigate why, you know, ancient Canaanites fed children to a horned god named Moloch. I want to know this stuff. But some people wouldn't even want to go that far. And so I'm the guy that tells the stories, and because people don't want to do it, so they have me to tell that story, and I don't mind that. I don't mind that calling. I think it's awesome, but I just wish more people would have that attitude. That yeah, okay, if you get real good at Christianity, you can probably go off now and find out more about the enemy, find out more about who's bugging you, find out more about the trickster and how he's kicking your balls every time you turn around, and you have to figure out how to block him next time. It's the whole point, right?
Right. Yeah, and that's it's a very esoteric perspective in general, as in like not only is it a kind of an eclectic perspective, but it's also something you find throughout esoteric thought. It's something that's encouraged, to uh, like sink your teeth, if you will, into what you know and what you gravitate towards. Firstly, because it gives you a good footing, and helps you understand yourself and the world around you a bit, and then branch out. You don't have to stick with one thing. You can even keep that thing as your core, but there's no reason to not branch out. And if you aren't, and you're limiting yourself with dogma, I mean, you're just, I don't know, to each their own.
Right.
But it's just simply a very limiting perspective.
It doesn't harm your base to explore. Okay, you have your base
No,
beliefs.
not at
I'm
all.
grateful for my Christian upbringing. I'm grateful for the Bible. I'm grateful for all that. But I'm also grateful that someone shook me and said, "Hey, there's a lot more to it than that. There's a reason why you feel the way you do about the Bible. There's a reason why you feel the way you
Likewise.
do about mythologies. There are ways that you can explore what life is about without having to limit yourself to just one book or one scripture or one line." And so Anthony Tyler with us, and we're going to talk more about his books. He's got books too, and he'll teach you something right here on Channel Weird. Don't go away. With me is Ronnie from getthetea.com. Hey, Ronnie, it is the tea that makes you go, I know this because I use it. My favorite is pomegranate. What kind of flavors are there to choose from with this wonderful tea?
You can do pomegranate. You can do just the straight, which is real good. And also we have a mint, a peppermint. People really love that one too. And we have a couple new flavors on the way, which I will not discuss yet, but they're coming.
You know, a lot of people don't know that peppermint is a very, very good supplement to keep the stomach happy. It relaxes the intestines, and once again, it makes you feel better because it allows them to move around and get that stuff out of you, that bad stuff out of you.
Absolutely. This is a digest mover. So people have a hard time digesting stuff, or you get something stuck, or maybe you're a real heavy meat eater. The tea is wonderful. That's why it's taglined, the tea that makes you go.
If I want my life to change and get the tea, where do I go to get it?
Getthetea.com. That's getthetea, TEA.com.
Fantastic. It's all over the news. Food shortages and scarcity in the supply chain. And the reality is nobody truly knows what might happen in the near future. Hi, I'm Clyde Lewis, and I want to let you know that it's a good idea to plan ahead so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We highly recommend My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. They provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, their foods will be there when you need them most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. They have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from, along with a variety of other survival products. If the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. After you order from My Patriot Supply, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep. Prepare today, because time is short. Go to preparewithgroundzero.com. That's preparewithgroundzero.com. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis. Have you ever wanted Ground Zero merchandise but didn't know where to go? Well, I want to let you know that we now have our own online store with such items as t-shirts, hoodies, decals, tote bags, and other exclusive specialty apparel. There's a secure and easy-to-use shopping cart for your purchases. Coming soon will be signed posters and coffee mugs available, constantly adding new items. So shop today at the official Ground Zero store by going to groundzeromerch.com. That's groundzeromerch.com.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to AncientLifeOil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm, from brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries, be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to ancientlifeoil.com for great CBD. That's ancientlifeoil.com. You'll be glad you did.
It's a well-known fact that controversial talk show hosts have recently been censored and even banned on the internet by corporate and political interests. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. And in order to counter the suppression of information, we've decided to create our own private digital playground called Aftermath. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring a social media platform, videos, audio clips, archive shows, research groups, documents, and a news aggregator. In addition, we're hosting other Ground Zero friendly podcasts like Conspirafact with Wes and Bill, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, Parawareness with Mr. Gates and Isaac Weishaupt, Opposing Perspective with James Ponder, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and several more shows. Mobile apps for Android and Apple are available too. The monthly subscription for Aftermath is only $10 a month. And don't forget to check out the yearly specials, including the Friends and Family Pass with 1 main account and 3 sub-accounts. Sign up now by going to aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
Psychology, the occult, the esoteric, Sportiana. My guest, Anthony Tyler, he knows all about that. And in fact, he's written a few books about the subject. And Anthony, I'd like to give you this moment to talk about what are in your books. I know you had The Dive Mind, and you have a new one, I think, that just came out. I'm not sure of the title. I mean, I got briefed on it, but of course, I got briefed before I had my coffee. So now my brain is a blank. I got the caffeine in me. I want to know more about what you're doing. So tell me more about your books, about what you're doing, and what your projects are.
Yeah, I know how that goes. And yeah, I appreciate the floor.
Sure.
I'll make sure to send you some copies as well.
I would love that, because our conversation, it just seems like you're either the son I didn't have or the brother I didn't have. So it's kind of nice that I'm talking to you.
Yeah, likewise. We've been in step the whole time. It's been really enjoyable. I
Right.
got some copies here for anyone watching the live stream. This is Dive Manual here, and that's the first book that came out like a year and 2/3 ago. And then I got this one, came out just under a week ago. Came out Halloween. This is Hunt Manual. They both are have to do with all the subject matter that we're talking about, but Dive Manual, a little more esoteric, specifically like a lean. So put it like this: they both are interested in like comparative religion, mysticism, if you will, and the unexplainable / Fortean. The Dive Manual leans more into the mysticism, and Hunt Manual leans more into the Fortean. So, and the kind of dividing line beyond that being like the water motif for Dive Manual has a lot to do with the divine feminine, and Hunt Manual, with its like Fortean lean, it gets into existential horror at large, and like the Jungian shadow complex and how that relates to the unexplainable and this trickster element. And so it has a lot to do with the Fortean trickster gray area, and sifting through that and separating that from what you would consider demonology today.
The trickster is active right now, and I think that people need to know
Mhm.
that. I think that your book is very important in the sense that teaching people about the trickster and what it does, rather than it's some evil creature, but it's a creature that teaches you a lesson.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, some tidbits for anybody interested. Well, and also you can go to my website, divemind.net, and you could find any, chats and interviews and things I've done. But you can also find some excerpts of the books. You can find some choice excerpts of Dive Manual and the first chapter of Hunt Manual. So go check that out. And, um, now, yeah, so some fun tidbits is, you mentioned earlier, like where the confluence might be, like what are some of like the triggering factors of that kind of stimulates this Fortean event, if some of it is subjective, at least in part, like creating fertile ground. And like a takeaway for me in writing Hunt Manual, it wasn't like a preconceived notion. It was something kind of came upon me as I looked through all the material, because I'll also say, it covers all existential horror as an umbrella, with everything from cryptozoology and all the paranormal Fortean stuff to gets into some true crime and serial killers and cult leaders
Mhm.
and different things. So um, but the idea that poltergeist as well, and in all these things, in one form or another, you find a strong recurring theme of the idea that um, the uh, the unconscious mind has so the human body stores a tremendous amount of tension. Obviously, we can all attest to that, but there are a great many curious things that happen when we don't have ways to relieve that tension, and it could be as simple as not sleeping well, or having like intense recurring nightmares or things, or you could start to experience sleep paralysis. Or if you get into the Fortean continuum, this isn't even something new. This is something that Jung, Valet, and John Keel would all attest to. They say that there's some sort of continuum happening similar to the message that dreams can convey to you, with this Fortean phenomena. Now, it's not all from our minds, but there is a sort of prophetic omen sort of quality to it. I mean, that's what Keel was talking about with the title,
Right.
The Mothman Prophecies.
The power of
So,
prognostication, the idea of synchronicity as a form of prognostication rather than necromancy. I've had that discussion many times. People say, well, you're conjuring spirits familiars in order to tell you what the future is. No, not really. It's synchronicity. It's Jungian thought, unconscious mind. It's oracleism, I guess you could call it that. But prognostication is more about synchronicity than it is about predicting the future, I think.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you it's most often found with the poltergeist motif, the idea of um the nervous system having something to do, an expulsion of the nervous system, a purge, creating anomalous activity. And you look into the science of it, dreams aren't the only examples. Sleep paralysis is another great example of this purgative quality, where the unconscious mind becomes, it's an adaptation mechanism essentially, where it tries to release some of this tension. Phantom limb syndrome, the same kind of thing. And yeah, that's what they talk about with poltergeists a lot of the time. That's one of the strongest recurring themes. Is that's why they say that like children and coming into adolescence surround the poltergeist event. Not exclusively, and it's not because it only happens to children. The underlying motif there is, again, the human nervous system in and of itself, which
Well,
and
it projects a lot. I mean, I think people don't
precisely.
understand that the truth is in you, not out there. It's in you, and what's coming at you could be within you as well. You need to think about that as well.
Precisely. Yeah, yeah. It's to think that the objective world is like purely a reflection of your inner world is technically the definition of like psychosis. But the flip side of that is just as dangerous. I'm always talking about the Buddhist middle path, and you got to walk that line between the objective and the subjective,
Right.
because if you lean into one or the other too hard, you're gonna it's just gonna be a completely incomplete picture. That's why I can't get down with scientism or dogma at large. I like to and that's why I feel comfortable calling myself a Fortean, above like any other titles. Even though I really appreciate Christianity, I really appreciate Buddhism, I have them close to my heart. But Fortean is just, it's the title that embraces no title, and
Right.
it's tongue in cheek purposefully, because it knows it's a title anyway. It's
Well,
kind
we
of my
know that life has a
personality.
sense of humor about it. That's the good thing
Exactly.
about being a Fortean is, any crazy thing that may be thought up, any crazy thing that may manifest, any crazy thing that we stumble upon, any, a bug we smash has an effect on the planet. And I think that thinking in this way is a lot more expansive and liberating than just being so cooped up in a myopic view of the world. And
Yeah.
Anthony Tyler, I appreciate your mind. I appreciate your books. I appreciate what you're doing. And yes, get Anthony Tyler's book, please get it. It's I'm certainly thrilled to have you on today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being part of Channel Weird.
Yeah, I appreciate coming on. I look forward to talking more in the future, and thanks to anybody for listening.
Oh, we will definitely talk in the future. And that's Channel Weird for today. I hope you enjoyed it. A very interesting discussion about Fortiana. And of course, we got more stuff, more weird stuff coming next week. So stay tuned.